The true power of our beauty no longer lies in the mirror. It is hidden in your posture, which has deepened over the years, in the calm wisdom in your gaze, and in the quiet elegance you carry within, unspoken to anyone. This video was created to help you rediscover this quiet beauty within you, to help you gradually recognize the habits that make you unforgettable, and especially to help you see how your light grows stronger as you age. Before we get to the video, I'm going to ask you for something very small but equally meaningful. Write, "I am discovering my quiet beauty" in the comments. Because believe me, writing this is not just a comment. It means making the promise you made to yourself visible, and this determination greatly accelerates the transformation process. Let's start with the first point right away. 1. Walk with quiet but powerful confidence. At this point, I can say that a woman's walk is noticed long before her words. That quiet confidence, which matures with age, becomes an invisible power hidden in your steps. Of course, when entering a room, for example, you never need noise, showiness, or exaggeration. The rhythm of your body, the posture of your shoulders, or your gaze already convey everything comfortably. Now, this is actually a very noble serenity that comes from existing without making an effort to impress anyone. So, over time, a woman who has carried the weight of life, faced it, learned from it, and especially transformed herself, let's say, always has a depth that is truly noticeable in her walk. At the same time, one of the very important truths that women realize as they live is this: our outer beauty may come and go, but that silent power hidden in our posture is truly lasting. What I mean is this: steps taken with quiet confidence do not merely offer an aesthetic appearance. They also powerfully convey the message, "This is my path, and I know myself." Of course, this message is not some loud declaration. On the contrary, it is a subtle yet highly effective expression of the deep trust we feel towards life. That's why such a walk becomes both memorable and an equally inspiring signature. Moreover, walking with quiet confidence requires weaving a fabric of wisdom from our past experiences rather than carrying their burdens. So, every time life breaks you, think of it this way: because we learn to stand up again, we actually become more stable, calmer, and generally much more conscious. And this walk truly emerges as one of the most beautiful forms of grace, despite the difficulties we face. That is why both grace and resilience can be seen simultaneously in the walk of mature women. Of course, some women leave their mark on an environment not with words, but with the rhythm of their walk. And this rhythm is a special flow that is unhurried, unpressured, yet still commands attention. Now, this silence is never a weakness. In fact, it can be seen as a kind of reflection of wisdom, controlled power, and inner peace. Walking with calm but determined steps actually gives the other person a natural sense of confidence. And let's not forget, people are influenced by this posture because you carry a genuine and, above all, authentic charm. The most explosive part is that such a walk is not just an image projected outward, it is also a kind of mirror of the person's inner world. So what I'm saying is, when you are at peace with yourself, when you face your past and accept yourself much more comfortably, your steps begin to lighten and their meaning deepens. That is precisely why a quiet but powerful walk becomes one of the most unforgettable beauty habits of a mature woman. By the way, I know this may be at least the second, maybe even the third video you've watched on my channel, and it really saddens me that you're still not subscribed. Because seeing you here, being able to progress together on this journey, is very precious to me. If you subscribe, you will support me in the strongest way possible, and we will never lose each other. 2. Choosing words carefully and calmly when speaking. In fact, one of the great truths that people discover as they live is this: What creates the strongest impact is generally not speaking loudly, but the art of choosing the right word at the right moment. Consider, for example, the calm speech of a mature woman. It carries an authority built not on noise, but on serenity. Of course, behind this calmness lies accumulated experience, a heart that has passed through trials, and a very deep awareness developed towards life. And when such a woman speaks, her voice naturally does not rise, but rest assured that what she says leaves a much stronger impact than raised voices. Furthermore, choosing words carefully when speaking is not, as you will appreciate, to impress the other person. What I mean to say here is that it is a conscious choice made to reflect the clarity of your mind and, in particular, the maturity of your emotions. And this habit, believe me, shows that we no longer need to prove ourselves. It has given way to serenity, a confident stance, and above all, communication free from unnecessary confusion. Now, a calm tone of voice never hides a person's determination. On the contrary, it makes that determination much more visible. And real power is not about shouting, it manifests itself through balanced mastery. Of course, there is a method that mature women mostly apply without even realizing it. They filter their emotions before expressing them, weigh their thoughts before articulating them, and seriously consider whether their words are actually in harmony with their inner balance before choosing them. Now, this is not a simple way of speaking. It is, after all, the natural result of a refined approach to life. Of course, this is why what they say can be much more memorable and much more impressive. Let's not forget that the person you are talking to will find a depth that inspires confidence in that calmness. At the same time, there is also this fact. Speaking calmly has a calming effect on the other person, believe me. When such a woman speaks in a setting, her words are not only heard, they actually soften the energy of the setting, lower the tension, and restore balance. Of course, people notice this demeanor, and because it carries a rare sense of peace, this peace matures with age and carries a special elegance within the person. In other words, listeners are captivated not only by what she says, but also by the serenity of her presence. 3. Create a clean, simple, and orderly personal style. I can now comfortably say that as time goes on, one of the most refined aspects of female beauty is truly elegance that comes from simplicity. Because, to give an example, a woman who has a clean, simple, and especially organized style is naturally far beyond ostentation, exaggeration, or attempts to draw attention. It is generally a reflection of the respect she has for herself. Such a woman truly knows what to wear, how to carry herself, and what suits her. Of course, she bases her style not on the fleeting winds of fashion, but on the strong identity she has built over the years, especially through her inner balance. For this reason, even if she appears simple, her impact is actually much deeper and can truly leave a lasting impression. Looking at it from another angle, what primarily draws the mature woman to a simple style is the absence of excess. That is, there is nothing unnecessary in her clothes, makeup, accessories, or even, believe it or not, her hair. This minimalist approach emerges as a result of both knowing oneself and gaining the freedom to act without regard for others' approval. Thus, every detail becomes more visible, more meaningful, and truly much more powerful. So, simplicity here is not a deficiency. On the contrary, it is a sign of wisdom. It is also based on a clean and orderly lifestyle. Attention is paid to clothing choices, color harmony, the elegance of textures, and especially the quality of the fabric. Far from a chaotic wardrobe, each piece has a specific purpose, a story, and, above all, a function. This order carries not only external appearance, but also considerable clarity of mind. Because, as you will appreciate, a woman's style is often a silent mirror of her inner world. If simplicity, peace, and especially balance are truly reflected in this mirror, then the other person will easily sense it and be unable to resist it. 4. Reflecting the wisdom that comes with age in our daily behavior. As many of us know, a woman's beauty matures over time, not only in her facial features but also, and most significantly, in her behavior. What I mean is this: the impatient reactions of youth are naturally replaced by the deep insight and, above all, the calmness gained with age. Of course, this wisdom is not expressed loudly. On the contrary, it can reveal itself very easily even in the small moments of our daily lives. And this subtlety, visible especially in a glance, a posture, or a sentence, or even in a silence, is essentially the signature of a truly mature woman. So even if people don't recognize her at first glance, they can never help but be captivated by this simple yet powerful presence. Now, when we talk about wisdom that comes with age, it actually encompasses not jumping to conclusions, not getting into unnecessary arguments, or, let me put it this way, not immediately projecting every emotion outward. And this subtlety, embedded in daily behavior, not only puts the other person at ease, but also has a profound impact. Because, as you can appreciate, a mature woman knows very well what is important and what is unimportant when choosing her reactions, and this selectivity, in a real sense, emerges as a natural result of her self-confidence and even her ability to read life. And let's not forget that people feel very safe around her because she maintains a posture that does not disrupt the energy balance. Of course, this wisdom is not only felt in her reactions, but also in her behavior as a whole. That is, speaking calmly, for example, being able to deal with a problem without panicking, or being able to resolve a hurt feeling before it grows. In essence, diffusing a tension before it escalates. All of these are truly among the foremost behaviors of elegance. Of course, these are not achieved through great effort. They are achieved through the beautiful balance that years have taught. For this reason, when we consider the daily demeanor of a mature woman, it carries a healing power. Her silence brings peace. Her calmness creates trust. At the same time, her attitude, imbued with wisdom, leaves a very memorable impression. People naturally begin to feel much better around such a woman, and there is a truly mature healing power in her energy. This calm depth sets her apart from others and makes her truly unforgettable. 5. Make eye contact that is gentle but equally impressive. You know, there is actually a situation like this. Some women have such depth in their gaze that you can understand a lot about them even without speaking. This soft yet equally impressive eye contact, which matures with age, essentially emerges as one of the very powerful elements of silent beauty. Of course, when a woman no longer feels the need to express herself hastily, the confidence in the calmness of her gaze actually conveys very comfortably both what she wants and what she will not accept. This type of eye contact is never aggressive. On the contrary, it carries elegance and maturity. Naturally, people are drawn to this gaze because it contains both warmth and true wisdom. From another perspective, there is no attempt to show control or power in gentle eye contact. In fact, I am talking about a very serious inner peace that keeps the heart and mind in the same place. A mature woman never averts her eyes when talking to the person in front of her, but she also does not exert pressure with her eyes, because this delicate balance shows the refinement in her character, and such a gaze essentially says, "I hear you," but at the same time, it also very seriously conveys the message, "I am here, and I truly trust myself." This natural balance gives women both a calm and extraordinarily attractive aura. Furthermore, establishing eye contact gently is a sign of deep empathy. What I mean is this. When listening, for example, she opens up space to the other person with her eyes. When speaking, she does not build unnecessary walls with her eyes. Of course, this attitude makes people feel valued. This is one of the reasons why people feel very comfortable around a mature woman. Her gaze does not judge, does not rush, never pressures. It simply exists as it is. Of course, this existence is the essence of silent beauty itself. In addition, eye contact also reflects the woman's energy and, in particular, her character, because it is an expression of a truth learned over time. When a person is confident in themselves, even the most powerful communication can come from a truly calm place. So think about it this way. The gaze of mature women is truly striking because there is never any effort in it. It is not an energy that flutters to attract attention, but rather an existence that is already noticed. And let's not forget, it is precisely this effortless but equally profound effect that captivates people. 6. Enhancing elegance with timeless accessories. The fact is that timeless accessories are not just a complementary element in the styles of mature women in particular. What I mean is, they are often very subtle details that symbolize her character, her past, or her stance. And unlike the flashy, fast-moving pieces preferred in youth, each accessory chosen, especially with age, has a meaning, a story, and in general, a weight. Naturally, this is why a ring, necklace, or elegant watch worn by a mature woman not only adds value to her style, but also conveys a profound message of elegance to those around her. This elegance, combined with the tranquility of the soul rather than mere appearance, can be deeply impactful without drawing undue attention. Of course, timeless accessories also free a woman's style from dependence on fashion cycles. To give an example, a thin gold bracelet, simple delicate earrings, a quality leather bag, or a classic watch. All of these carry very special meanings as pieces that never go out of style and retain their elegance over the years. Believe me, these pieces are understated yet powerful. Of course, a mature woman knows very well how to create a big impact with very little when choosing her accessories. That's why each piece is carefully selected and truly completes the whole with elegance. At the same time, the real power of these types of accessories comes from their splendor in simplicity rather than ostentation. What I mean is that this approach, often seen in the style of mature women, represents an understanding that says, "My beauty is hidden in the details." And even a delicate bracelet can draw attention to you when used correctly. However, it never shouts, demands attention, or pushes itself forward. On the contrary, it shines very quietly. This quiet light is actually one of the cornerstones of quiet beauty. 7. A minimal skincare routine that gives the skin a natural glow. There is a truth that a woman's beauty is not actually a face covered with makeup over time, but rather a skin that becomes simpler, breathes, and especially rediscovers its own radiance. What I mean is this. For example, a minimal skincare routine is one of the most visible, obvious manifestations of the compassion a mature woman develops for herself. And there is never any exaggeration in the routine. That is, there are very conscious steps that focus on naturalness, simplicity, and the real needs of the skin in general. Of course, we know that the fine lines brought on by time are not flaws that need to be hidden. However, when combined with a soft glow, these lines make a person appear much deeper and just as elegant. For this reason, minimal care does not aim to change the face. Rather, it aims to reveal the face's own beauty. Of course, minimal care routines also have the power to leave behind unnecessary product clutter. For example, a mature woman knows that the real issue is never about using dozens of creams, serums, or masks. On the contrary, it is about sticking to a few basic habits that really support the skin. That is, a gentle cleanser, a well-chosen moisturizer, and especially a light radiance that lets the skin breathe. This trio creates a natural, youthful effect over time, and also preserves the true identity of our face, because as the skin ages, it responds better to simplicity, to products that don't weigh it down, and to a consistent skincare routine. One of the most striking aspects of this habit is the relationship a woman builds with her skin. Because she has shifted her focus from the anxiety of looking perfect to the desire to feel healthy. Of course, when she looks in the mirror, she sees not her flaws, but the peace of mind that comes from taking good care of herself. A woman with this awareness can protect her skin without straining, forcing, or over-treating it. Naturally, this approach will give the skin a natural glow over time, and you will appreciate that this glow is not an artificial shine achieved with makeup. It is a very serene glow that comes from within. And remember that people notice this glow because it is very sincere. It belongs to an unhidden beauty. Now, I also want to say that a minimal skincare routine is actually proof of elegance found in simplicity. That is, products tried in different periods of life, intensive applications that disrupt balance, or complex processes have now given way to a routine with solid roots. This routine, of course, supports not only external care but also inner peace. And consider this, protecting your skin is a way of protecting yourself. Giving yourself regular care is a silent acknowledgement of your own worth. For this reason, a mature woman's skin bears not only the traces of care, but also the traces of a good life, and above all, the traces of self-respect. The most striking aspect is that a minimal skincare routine reflects a woman's less is more philosophy of life. She now knows very well that the secret to her beauty lies not in complexity, but rather in order and simplicity. 8. The natural habit of smiling, which softens facial features. A woman's smile actually evolves over time from being just a form of expression. It becomes one of the quietest yet most impressive reflections of her character. Because, as many of you know, one of the most important truths learned through life is this: a person's smile no longer emerges primarily to influence others, but rather as a result of the wisdom and acceptance they develop towards life. For this reason, a mature woman's smile is never exaggerated. It is calmer, softer, and generally sincere. It never sharpens the facial features. On the contrary, it lends them an elegant softness. It is precisely for this reason that such a smile becomes the most powerful signature of that quiet beauty. When I think of a smile that softens facial features, it also appears as a great sign that the woman is at peace with her own life. There are those rapid emotional ups and downs in youth that we all know. With age, these give way to a much deeper acceptance. And now, perfect conditions are not necessary to smile, because life's small moments, quiet joys, or even a deep breath are truly enough and worthwhile to smile. This wisdom-filled softness essentially transforms both a woman's facial features and her energy, because what makes one look young is not actually youth. It is a softened, accepting, and especially calm state of mind. Of course, this natural smile also appears as a true sign that the woman has melted and transformed the burdens, grievances, or difficulties she has carried over the years. For this reason, her smile is never shallow. On the contrary, it is a true symbol of inner healing. Because when people look at such a smile, they see not just an expression, but more of a story. Let me put it this way. It carries the quiet elegance of a woman who has endured, learned, grown, and finally returned to herself. And this is precisely where the power of a smile comes into play. Because a wordless compassion, a wordless strength, and especially a wordless wisdom emerge, thus making this smile a unique signature that reflects both a woman's experiences and the strength she carries within her in the quietest way possible. Because without needing words, even just a smile can convey deep sincerity, healing warmth, and mature wisdom. That is why a natural smile that softens the facial features emerges as one of a woman's most unforgettable beauty habits. 9. Carrying oneself with an upright and elegant posture. I can comfortably say that a woman's posture is often noticed long before her words, and especially as she ages, this posture becomes a true signature. An upright and elegant posture is not merely a physical habit, it is the outward reflection of a spirit that has learned to stand tall despite life's burdens. The way she carries her shoulders, the maturity with which she holds her head, and the balance in her body reveal the quiet but powerful beauty of a mature woman. Therefore, posture is not just a physical form, but also a mirror of character. I would like to emphasize that although many people feel the weight of their bodies as they age, a mature woman learns to carry that weight with grace. Her posture is her way of saying, "I am here," but she does so quietly, not loudly. Every moment she stands tall carries traces of the times she let herself go, the days she got back up, and the truths she never gave up on. When people look at this posture, they see not just a body, but a life story. Naturally, this story makes her not only attractive, but also someone who commands respect. Furthermore, the power of an elegant posture lies in its silent expression of a woman's self-worth. Shoulders slumped are often a sign of a heavy heart, but a mature woman learns over time to lift her shoulders, take ownership of her body, and make space for herself. This posture is not a challenge to the outside world, but an internal acceptance. It is the unspoken but felt version of the phrase, "I am valuable." Even if such a woman does not speak, those around her immediately notice her self-confidence. In addition, carrying oneself upright also provides some aesthetic advantages that are not noticeable in youth. Even if her height does not increase, her appearance lengthens. Her face looks brighter, her clothes look more elegant, and her gait becomes more fluid. This elegance carried by the body reflects in all of the woman's energy. Even the way she enters a room changes, quiet but impressive, simple but unforgettable. Because standing upright is not just a physical posture, it is a state of mental composure. This habit is an expression of a woman's respect for herself and her life. As she stands tall, her body strengthens, her breath deepens, and her thoughts become clearer. Combined with the wisdom that comes with age, this posture makes a woman's inner peace and deep strength even more visible. When people look at such a woman, they feel an inexplicable attraction to her presence. This attraction is not a loud effect. It is the quiet charm of elegant depth. Ultimately, an elegant posture is one of the simplest yet most impressive symbols of a woman's attitude towards life. Standing tall means, I carry my past, but I am not crushed by it. It means, I have been broken, but I have not bent. It means, I have aged, but I have not lost my light. That is why a woman who stands tall is not only beautiful, she is unforgettable, because silent beauty begins right here, a quiet strength, effortless elegance, and a profound existence. 10. Choosing colors that emphasize mature elegance. As most of us would guess, the colors a woman chooses often reflect her mood and character more clearly than words. With age, women realize that colors shape not only their appearance, but also their character, energy, and posture. Therefore, a mature woman no longer makes random choices. She consciously selects tones that harmonize with her inner world. When she chooses colors that suit her skin, her spirit, the rhythm of the day, and her identity, she not only looks stylish, but also exudes a quiet yet profound elegance. This elegance is an invisible yet powerful mark she leaves on her surroundings. The characteristic of colors that emphasize mature elegance is not that they are flashy, it is that they carry a calm, soft, and noble depth. Colors such as beige, ecru, earth tones, olive green, wine red, navy blue, and stone grey, create a sophisticated look that is influential without being loud. These tones blend with the quiet strength in the character of the mature woman. Rather than embellishing an outfit, such colors seem to elevate the woman's presence, because it is not the color that draws attention, but the elegance within the color. Furthermore, choosing colors is actually one of the simplest ways to know oneself. A mature woman no longer chooses colors to please others, but to elevate her own energy. When she wants to add splendor to the day, she turns to deep burgundy tones. When she seeks tranquility, she wraps herself in soft, neutral tones. When she wants to feel powerful, she turns to navy blue or black. Each of these colors is like an explanation of her inner state. People notice this because the harmony created by the colors looks natural, real, and meaningful on her. Her elegant color choices also make her facial features and skin tone appear more vibrant, luminous, and rested. While the wrong color can make a woman look pale, the right tones both illuminate the skin and lend an aesthetic softness to the mature lines of the face. The reason some women look younger as they age is not expensive creams. It is a conscious sense of style based on the right colors. These choices emphasize beauty with quiet elegance. I must also mention that the essence of quiet beauty is not to shout for attention. It is to make attracting attention a natural result. The conscious choice of colors achieves exactly that. A mature woman does not compete with bright neons or complex patterns. Her power lies in simplicity. The more sophisticated the colors, the more impressive her posture becomes. Therefore, the right color tone envelops a woman's quiet but striking presence like an invisible frame. And of course, without a doubt, color choice is one of the most elegant ways to express who a woman is. Because every color carries a mood, every tone conveys a message of character. A woman who chooses colors that emphasize mature elegance goes beyond beautifying her appearance. She transforms her presence into a meaningful aesthetic. People remember such a woman not just as beautiful, but as unforgettable, because her colors reveal her soul as comfortably as a silent poem. 11. Radiating a quiet but determined energy. It is a fact that one of the most striking characteristics of a mature woman is her ability to radiate a powerful energy without needing to display loud self-confidence. This quiet but determined energy stems from the maturity of her relationship with life, the deep peace that comes from knowing herself, and the fact that she no longer needs to prove anything to anyone. When such a woman enters a room, she makes no effort to attract attention, but her presence creates a natural gravitas. This weight comes not from harshness, but from a deep inner strength, and this is one of the most distinctive signs of silent beauty. Furthermore, projecting a determined energy while appearing calm from the outside is actually the result of inner clarity. This woman knows what she wants, knows what she will not accept, knows her limits, and sets her own course rather than allowing life to carry her along. This clarity is reflected in her way of speaking, her walk, her posture, and even the way she sits. People around her intuitively sense how strong her will is behind her calm demeanor. That's why even her silence is compelling. It carries an unstoppable determination. The most explosive part of it is that she can guide people without forcing them. A mature woman does not shout, argue, or make dramatic exits, because she knows that power comes from posture, not tone of voice. Her determination does not threaten others. On the contrary, it inspires. Even if her words are few, their impact is great, because she thinks and weighs before she speaks, stripping her words of unnecessary emotional baggage. This pure power inspires confidence and admiration in people. Of course, there is also the fact that this determined energy is a result of the woman knowing her own worth. The need for approval ends, the constant effort to explain herself disappears, and the anxiety to prove herself to others vanishes. This state of freedom makes her energy clearer and stronger. When people encounter such a woman, they immediately sense the maturity in her energy, calm but unshakable, gentle but authoritative, kind but with boundaries. This contrast is one of the most powerful combinations that makes women unforgettable. Quiet determination also shows how a woman has overcome difficult periods in her life. Defeated but not broken, fallen but not scattered, tired but not giving up. Therefore, there is a kind of solidity in her energy. Experience is seen in her gaze, wisdom in her posture, clarity in her words. This energy carries a weight not found in youth, because it is only gained through experience, acceptance, and transformation. This is precisely why many people feel safer around mature women. In conclusion, I can say unequivocally that radiating a quiet but determined energy is not just a personality trait, but also a form of beauty. It is a depth of appeal that cannot be achieved with makeup, clothing, hairstyles, or accessories. What truly makes a woman unforgettable is the effect created by this unwavering calmness carried by her soul, rather than her outward appearance. She is quiet but powerful, delicate but strong, soft but determined. That is why the greatest beauty of a mature woman is undoubtedly hidden not in her appearance, but in the depth of her energy. 12. Being able to set calm but equally clear boundaries with people. Now, when I come to this point, I would like to say that one of the most impressive characteristics of a mature woman is her ability to set calm but equally unshakable boundaries with people. Because when we think about it, in our youth, we often put our own feelings on the back burner in order to get along with everyone, not hurt anyone, or especially not be misunderstood. However, as time goes by, we naturally realize that the foundation of true elegance is actually the wisdom to protect oneself. For this reason, a mature woman no longer sees setting boundaries as a conflict. She sees it as a natural result of the respect she has for herself. And these boundaries are expressed not loudly, but in a calm, controlled, and above all, determined tone. Of course, this quiet determination deepens her beauty even more. Now, being able to set calm but clear boundaries actually begins with truly knowing one's own worth. And when we think of a mature woman, she no longer allows anyone to drain her energy, violate her emotional space, or disturb the peace of her soul. Moreover, she does not do this aggressively. On the contrary, she does it in an extremely calm, measured, even clear style. Because her no does not scream, but it builds a wall. It appears silent, but it is actually extremely powerful. Of course, this strong stance also offers the person opposite her an indisputable clarity. And these boundaries extend beyond human relationships. They permeate all areas of life. What I mean is this: they make much more conscious decisions about how to use their time, who to let into their life, and even what to tolerate and what not to tolerate. Of course, the wisdom that comes with age has also taught them the truth that you don't have to run to everyone who wants you. For this reason, they no longer exhaust themselves, prove themselves, or seek anyone's approval. Of course, these boundaries drawn with calmness essentially appear to us as a silent declaration of the order they have created within themselves. As a very brief summary of the 12 points I discussed in this video, I can tell you that as we age, we understand much better that our beauty does not fade. On the contrary, it deepens as it becomes more serene. Because when we think about it, true elegance never shows itself in a loud voice. It reveals itself in a calm demeanor, conscious choices, a gentle gaze, and especially in a determined energy. Of course, these 12 habits are the key to bringing back that timeless glow that exists in mature women, especially those who have seen, lived, and matured. Essentially, it's about becoming the strongest version of the story, without proving anything to anyone, without competing with anyone. And never forget that beauty is no longer something you see in the mirror. It is learning to leave this quiet but equally impressive mark wherever you go. So quiet beauty is essentially just that: effortless, mature, simple, and truly unforgettable existence. If you found my video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. Take care of yourself and see you in the next video. Remember, a woman is someone who has the power to change the world. Bravely forge your own path and enjoy every moment.